We always seem to be short on time.
Yep.
Because we always say, God, I wish there was more time in a day.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. And the other is we never seem to ever have enough money.
Yeah.
But there has to be a correlation between the amount of time you're willing to invest to save, in essence, very little money over the course of your lifetime. So this is the first episode of Advice
from my dad.
There you go.
All right, so the idea behind this show.
Yes.
In today's episode, we're going to be talking about 100 ways to live a better life, Dad. So I'm very excited to get your feedback here. But the idea behind Advice from my dad is my dad is 69 years old.
That is true.
He's got a lot of advice.
I've got a lot of life experience. I don't know if I have a lot of advice, but I have a lot of life experience that I can share.
Yes, and even if you get nothing out of that, he's pretty funny, and I like him. And so bi-weekly, twice a week, we're going to be putting out episodes. So thanks for listening and watching this first one.
Isn't bi-weekly every 2 weeks?
It goes either way.
I don't think it does.
No, it does.
No,
it goes either way.
Yeah, advice from your father would be to check on that.
It does.
No, I believe like bi-weekly means twice. It means every 2 weeks.
No, you were about to say
bi-monthly is every 2 months. Bi-weekly is yes. Okay, whatever. We're going to do at least 2 shows a week.
So stay tuned for that.
And we probably won't argue through the second one.
I'm telling you, bi-weekly can be used in either way.
Okay, well, we'll double check. We'll let people know in the next episode.
All right, so Pops.
Yes.
Do you really think there's 100 different ways that you can have a better life?
Well, I know there's 50 ways you can leave your lover. Okay.
Is that a song?
By Paul Simon.
I feel bad that I don't know that.
Yeah. Jump out the back, Jack. Go out the back, Jack. Hop on a bus, Gus. Yeah, all that stuff.
You could be a rapper.
So apparently there's 50 ways to leave your lover.
Yeah.
And if you believe what you can find on the internet, then there's 100 ways to live a better life.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to link to this in the show notes. And if you're watching this on YouTube, which more power to you, if you want to see us goofballs on camera, we'll link to it down below.
Yes. Okay.
It's an article that came from lessiswrong.com or lesswrong.com.
Lesswrong.com. Okay.
All right. So I'm not going to read through all 100. That'd be a long episode.
Because I can tell you the first way is to not read all 100.
All right. So number 3 on the list, Dad.
Yeah.
It says things you use a significant fraction of your life. So, for example, you use a bed a third of your life, an office chair a fourth of your life, are worth investing in. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Does that sound advice? Is that one way to make yourself a better life? Like, I feel like you and Mom used to have like a really expensive bed. Like, that thing was like Tempur-Pedic to the max.
I like that. Yeah, that's because I always had a bad back.
Yeah.
And I thought it made sense to invest a good amount of money into a good mattress that would help ease my back pain. And for me, it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm thinking that, an office chair, because you only spend a quarter of your life in an office chair. Apparently, that person never worked in the car business where you spend about half of your life in that office chair.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, but think about it, like literally. Yeah. No. I don't think they mean a quarter of your life at work. I think they mean the hours of your life.
Yeah.
You spend a quarter of them sitting in a chair.
Okay.
And then you spend a third of your life sleeping in a bed.
Oh, yeah. Now, now if we use that as being statistically significant, and, would you invest extra money on those things?
Yeah.
Here we are living in a VRBO, a Verbo in Las Vegas.
Good use of talking into the mic, yes.
And it has, I don't know, maybe 100-year-old toaster. Okay, it's probably not 100 years old.
I don't know where this is going.
Okay,
by the way.
But and I said to my, and it was kind of dingy looking.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, well, if I'm going to be putting bread in something to toast it, I'm going to invest the money and treat myself to a toaster oven for this house for the 2.5 months that we're going to live here.
So if you spend 1/1000th of your life toasting bread, get a good toaster oven.
But the point is, in order to make my life better, in my mind, I went and ordered a toaster oven.
Yeah.
that you actually utilize today.
I used it this morning.
Yes, it's new, it's clean. I was thinking of leaving it behind when we go until, well, I found out they don't even have cleaning materials for us to clean the place. But that's
we'll
another
do a
story.
follow-up episode.
Yeah.
Advice from my dad: should I stay at Airbnbs or VRBOs for a long time? You now have strong-rooted opinions on that. But I guess the point you're making is,
Yes.
if it's something you're going to use a lot, like the advice here is,
Yes.
if it's two things, the bed and the chair.
Yeah.
If it's something you're going to use a lot,
Spend
invest
the
in
money.
it. Spend the money.
Yeah, spend the money.
So it's like, it's almost like the saying penny wise, pound foolish. Like,
Yes.
I remember Mom bought like a really nice North Face jacket for me one time. It was super
Yes.
expensive, but
Yes.
you have it forever.
Yes.
So you
and
agree.
she did the same thing. She bought a beautiful parka for your sister when she went to school at McGill University in Montreal, and those boots that Mom bought for Dara that she still has today.
Yeah.
Because if you try and get by cheap, you're going to end up spending more money because you're going to buy things 2 and 3 times, as opposed to just buying a good item one time.
Yep. Love it. Okay.
Okay.
Number 6 on the list.
Number 6.
Establish clear rules about when to throw out old junk. Once clear rules are established, junk will probably cease to be a problem. This is because any rule would be superior to our implicit rules. Keep this broken stereo for 5 years in case I learn how to fix it. I like that this is on the list personally, because I remember when we moved and I went through your bureau, and you seemed to keep every last thing that ever had your name on it. So I'm curious, what's your take on this? This is 100 ways to live a better life, and they're saying come up with rules to get rid of old things.
I think they're right. Okay, I think that's 100% true. I remember there were things that I had at work, and that if I hadn't looked at them in 6 months, I pretty much knew I didn't need them anymore, so I would throw them out.
Yeah.
Now, I couldn't quite bring myself to do that in my personal life at home.
No,
but I needed
very
to.
aware.
That's it. Yeah, but I needed to. So yes, I think that's really good advice. You need to set up. What's her name? Marie Kondo.
Marie Kondo.
Yeah, I don't want to go Marie Kondo on people, but I think we need to set up boundaries as to how long we're willing to put up with the collecting stuff that we're never going to look at or utilize ever again. If it's broken, throw it out. If you haven't looked at it in 6 months, look at it and throw it out. You're not going to need it.
No, I agree. I agree. All right, Dad, number 8.
Yeah.
When buying things,
Yeah.
time and money trade off against each other.
That is correct.
If you're low on money,
Yeah.
take more time to find deals.
Yes.
If you're low on time, stop looking for great deals and just buy things quickly online.
Yes and no.
All right.
Having spent 43 years in the car business, yes, people are willing to invest the time to negotiate to save $50 or $100 on an automobile. Or I remember one time I had a customer who said, well, I found a car, and we were in North Baltimore. He says, well, I found a car in Southern Virginia that's, a few $100 less than this car. And I said, well, how long is it going to take to drive to Southern Virginia? He said, probably about 4 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. And I said, you planning on coming back? He said, well, yeah. I said, so now we're up to 8 hours. Do you think you're going to have to spend any time at the dealership? He said, well, yeah, probably 2 or 3 hours. So I said, now you're up to 11 or 12 hours. I said, just out of curiosity, what's your time worth?
Yeah.
Okay. There's 2 things in life none of us ever have enough of.
Yeah.
Okay, except maybe Bill Gates and
Warren Buffett.
and Warren Buffett.
Jeff Bezos.
Okay, and Jeff Bezos. And, the 2 things are typically for most people time and money.
Yep.
Okay, we always seem to be short on time.
Yep.
Because we always say, God, I wish there was more time in a day.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, and the other is we never seem to ever have enough money.
Yeah.
But there has to be a correlation between the amount of time you're willing to invest to save, in essence, very little money over the course of your lifetime.
Yeah.
So there will be those who disagree with me and say, oh, no, it's worth all that. It's not. In my world, in my mind, it's not. I don't want to spend 4 hours saving $100.
Yeah.
My time is worth more than $25 an hour.
There's also, I think, another factor here, which is thinking about doing something and
Yes.
the act of actually going through it, that for me personally consumes a lot of energy. Like the research part or knowing
Yes.
that I then have to go do that drive versus just getting it out of my mind by buying it on Amazon or just paying a little bit more for it.
Yeah.
There's value even in just that.
Well, that's Amazon's whole business principle is that
Definitely.
people are willing to spend a tad more,
Yep.
and sometimes it's more than a tad, for the convenience of not having to go out of their house,
Yeah.
and just clicking a button and knowing that whatever it is they needed will suddenly be on its way.
Yeah. Okay. So you agree that is another way to have a better life, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. You have more time for your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Exactly.
Your time is valuable and it's limited.
All right. Number 12, Dad.
Yeah, 12.
Food taste can be made much more exciting through simple seasoning. It's also an opportunity for expression. Buy a few herbs or herbs
Yeah,
and spices and experiment away.
sure. Sure, that's on the list. Really?
100 ways to
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, if you're really stretching to find, I don't know, 100th way, that would be one of them. Hey, let's go out and buy some marjoram and see how that tastes on something. Or, yeah, sure.
Name some spices or herbs. I want to just hear this real quick.
Well, cumin.
Come on, and think about Paul Simon like before.
There's 50 ways to leave your cumin.
No, him and Art Garfunkel. Thyme, rosemary. What's that
Yeah,
song?
yeah,
And I don't
Yeah,
even remember
yeah,
it.
exactly.
But they
Yeah.
definitely talk about herbs in that song.
They do, yeah. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Yeah, yeah. There's 4 right there.
Oh, it's good enough.
Okay, but let's talk about white pepper and black pepper and cayenne pepper and I mean, there's
the
all kinds of peppers. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, it might be on this list. That might be number 62. Explore the peppers.
and that one is one that would add to your life. Yeah.
All right, Dad, number 17.
Yes,
Done is better than perfect.
yes,
You agree?
yes.
100%?
Yeah, and the reason I agree is because perfection is the imperfect pursuit of the impossible.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have always found yourself to be someone who's like, all right, I'd rather just get it done than get paralyzed in the idea that it's not going to be perfect?
Would I like to do it right? Yeah, I think there's value in doing it right, but perfection's almost impossible.
And it's also subjective, isn't it?
Well, yeah, to a certain degree. I mean, you look. I mean, we're big football fans. We're big sports fans, and there's no such thing as a team having ever played a perfect game.
No.
There's always something that went wrong somewhere, something that could have been done better. So, yeah, getting it done is better than searching for perfect, because perfect doesn't really exist.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Number 19, Dad.
Yeah.
Reward yourself after completing challenges, even badly.
Well, I think one of the things that I've learned in life
Yeah.
is that life is relatively short in the sense that nobody really knows how long they have.
Yep.
And so if you complete something even badly, you should indulge in some type of reward for having done that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, when you think it's time to, maybe you should, it could be too late because time has already passed you by.
Yeah. And also, reward can mean different things for different people,
Yeah.
right? Reward could be looking for the next challenge. To someone, that could be their motivation, and that's how they reward themselves. Reward for someone else could be a spa day or getting an ice cream sundae. But it is
Reward
important.
for me would be, food.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's important. I agree
Yeah.
with that completely. Like that
Yeah.
to feel a more fulfilled life, acknowledge that you accomplished something, and then
Yeah,
I
whether it went poorly or went really well, if you accomplished it, even if it was poorly, you deserve a reward for that.
Number 22, Dad.
22.
Exercise is the most important lifestyle intervention you can do. I did not plant this in here, by the way.
Okay. Yeah.
Even the bare minimum, 15 minutes a week,
Yeah.
has a huge impact. Start small. What's
Okay.
your take?
Well, it's probably correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Every doctor I've ever talked to has told me I should exercise.
Yeah.
And I always say, I will. And then, as you well know, I never do.
Yeah. Well, you like to walk. But you've stopped doing that recently. Like 2 years ago, you walked a ton.
Yes.
And then ever since then, and really since COVID has become a thing, it's become, more challenging.
But yes, I think exercise is important.
Yeah.
my children believe in that much more strongly than I do. But I do think people who exercise tend to have a better life because there's less issues and they tend to be somewhat healthier. But there's no guarantee.
No, of course not. No,
Yeah.
no. Does exercise make you feel good? Like when you do it? I'm curious. Do you feel good afterwards?
It's been so long since I exercised, I can't remember. But the answer to that would be yes.
Yeah, that's partly I got a bit addicted to
Yeah.
the idea of like I swam this morning and I don't even like swimming, but I feel great afterwards.
Yeah.
It's almost like to that challenge thing. It's a challenge and you do it and then
Yeah, whether you swam well or not is irrelevant.
yeah, it's just like
Yeah, you swam.
and I feel rewarded because
Yeah,
of that. Yeah,
yeah.
it's interesting.
Yes.
It's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
Dad, number 25.
25.
History remembers those who got to market first. Getting your creation out into the world is more important than getting it perfect. I think
I think this guy's just playing with semantics because
he wanted the title 100.
Yeah, because he couldn't come up with 100. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, the answer to that would be yes because we've already determined that there's no such thing as perfection. So
Yep.
yeah. Let me ask you a question. If I say Kleenex, what do you think of?
Tissues.
Yeah. Soft tissues.
Yeah, soft tissues.
Okay. But Kleenex is a brand.
Yeah, no.
Okay. And I don't know if it was the first brand,
Yeah.
but if it was, then
And
everybody
that fits this point really well.
yeah, then everybody just remembers it as Kleenex and not soft tissues.
Yeah, no. I totally get it. Okay, number 26, Dad.
Yeah.
Are you on the fence about breaking up or leaving your job? You should probably go ahead and do it. People on average end up happier when they take the plunge. What do you think?
I disagree.
You do?
Yes. I think if you're on the fence about your job, it's something either within you that you're afraid to talk to your employer about,
Yeah.
or something with the employer. And I think this is just me.
Yeah.
I think if there's a rock in the middle of your road at work, your job is to figure out how to get past that rock. And if you figure out how to get past that rock, then I think ultimately you end up being happier because you accepted the challenge that was making you somewhat ambivalent about where you were working, and you figured out how to get through it.
So my dad has counseled me through breakups and quitting a job
Yeah.
that I had for over 5 years.
Yes.
And I actually 100% agree with this advice. I think the
Yeah.
sooner you commit to making that decision to quit or to break up, the
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Absolutely the better, because I've learned about myself, and you counseled me through this.
Yeah.
But human beings are incredibly reactive,
Yeah.
and also change averse. So the idea of change is really challenging, for each of us to grasp and want to push ourselves into. And then when that does happen, we're incredibly emotional and reactive in that moment, but then it normalizes over time. Mm-hmm. And so I hear what you're saying with regards to the challenge at work.
Yeah.
But you could also reposition it as, well, the challenge is committing to the fact that I want to do this. And then the fact that I did do it is also rewarding.
I think ultimately it depends on the reasons as to why you're on the fence.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
If the reasons that you're on the fence is because you're mad at yourself for the way you're handling your job, then that's not.
But I think it's more nuanced than that. I'm mad at myself for how I'm handling my job because of you're not in isolation. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So
we can disagree, but I think that's totally fair. But I would say, when I've broken up with girlfriends and when I've
it was the toughest time of my life.
Exactly.
Jeez.
And when I quit my job, oh my God, when I quit my job, that was also really tough. The phone calls to you, me just bitching and moaning, and you just putting up with me.
Yeah, but that wasn't nearly as bad as when you'd break up with your girlfriends. I don't know if it was life altering for you, but it sure as hell was for me.
You started drinking whiskey around that time.
I did, yeah, and I did. And once you've gotten yourself back into a good state of mind, I stopped drinking whiskey, didn't I?
All right.
Yeah.
Number 27. Dad.
Yeah, never drink because your children break up with their significant others.
Discipline is superior to motivation. The former can be trained, the latter is fleeting. You won't be able to accomplish great things if you are only relying on motivation.
That is correct. I think
Do you agree?
discipline is an important aspect in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really have to have the discipline to see things through. And for instance, you just hit on it with swimming.
Yeah.
It's not something you necessarily like to do,
Yep.
but you have the discipline to do it, and then you get a certain motivation out of having done it.
Yeah, I think the swimming is a great example. It could be swimming, it could be walking, it could
Whatever.
be, honestly,
Yeah.
whatever your mind is set to see that through. I mean, I actually experienced this literally yesterday. You remember I went for that long walk to that park and I did a workout at the park?
Yes.
Okay. I check my phone so much because I'm like, there's so many things usually going on at work. And I told myself, I could see the park, but it was like a half mile away. And I told myself, don't look at your phone until you get to the park.
Wow.
Like that was the challenge to myself.
And
I didn't look at my phone until I got to the park. And the reason I didn't look at my phone until I got to the park was because we've had this chocolate pie that some people sent to us. And I've for years struggled with binge eating. And I didn't binge eat the pie at all.
No.
I was super disciplined with the pie.
You
And
were.
it's like a snowball effect. I was like, well, since
I was so proud of you for that, by the
Dude,
way.
you know,
until I
was too.
realized there's no cookies left from Brittany.
Yeah, sorry, I ate all the cookies.
You substituted the holiday cookies for the pie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I ate all the cookies. But I worked out. I swear.
No, I get it.
No,
Yeah.
but it's like, I think the discipline, it's a snowball effect. Like when you prove to yourself you can do something, regardless if it's physical or mental.
It makes it easier to do other things
It makes
in
it
the
easier
future.
to do the next one. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Okay, Pops. Number
Yeah.
30.
Yeah.
If you listen to successful people talk about their methods, remember that all the people who used the same methods and failed did not make videos about it. I think the point that they're trying to make, Dad, is that there's a lot of people online that say, you know, it's almost like the get rich quick schemes. Like, this is what I did to be in the position I am.
Yes.
But there's many more people than that individual who's on the screen who did the same exact stuff and didn't get into the same position.
Okay. So what? I don't get it. What?
So I think
so what? So why was the one that was successful? Why was he successful?
Well, I think that's the point that they're trying to
Well,
make.
what's the point?
So there's 100 tips to live a better life. So the idea would be, should you, I guess, fantasize about the fact that if I just follow these steps, I'll be in the same position as
Okay,
someone else.
so if what he's saying,
Or she.
if what this person is saying,
Nicely done.
then I shouldn't listen to Tony Robbins, which I would agree with, by the way.
Yeah, I guess,
okay,
yeah.
Or Grant Cardone or any of those type of people.
I don't think it's not to listen, it's to remember, you know, that there are other folks that listened to the same exact thing, tried to do the same exact thing, but didn't get to the same place. I think what they're trying to get at is maybe like tenacity or perseverance or even the discipline conversation we were just having.
Maybe, yeah. But I guess, I don't know. I guess that'll help you have a better life. Yeah.
Number 31.
Yeah.
The best advice is personal and comes from my dad. Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah,
and
it
comes
does.
from somebody who knows you well.
Yeah.
Take broad spectrum advice like this is needed, but the best way to get help is to ask honest friends who love you, who you love.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You know, I try to be honest and open and with you. And
Oh, for sure. For me, this resonates deeply for me.
Yeah.
I imagine mom when she was still around, was that for you? And like your parents when they were still around, that was for you?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 33.
Uh-oh.
Cultivate a reputation for being dependable.
Yeah, I did that. I spent a lifetime doing that.
Yeah. Good reputations are valuable because they're rare, easily destroyed, and hard to rebuild.
Yep.
You don't have to brew the most amazing coffee if your customers know the coffee will always be hot. What do you think?
Well, I was always hot, baby. I was always dependable. I took advice from my dad.
Yeah.
And his advice was that when I got a job, he said, always do more than what is expected of you.
Okay.
So whatever your job is, figure out how you can do more than what they expect you to do. And I always tried to do more than what I was asked to do. And that allowed me to succeed. That allowed me to get promotions and raises and find myself in positions where I could help mentor others. I became an extremely dependable person with a good reputation.
Yep.
And I would go toe to toe with people that tried to paint me as something other than what I was simply because of what I did.
Yeah. So you would say that this is really solid advice.
Oh, it is to me.
Yeah.
It was important to me.
Number 35, then.
Okay.
Noticing biases in others is easy.
Yeah.
Noticing biases in yourself is hard.
Yeah.
However, it has a much higher payoff.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one stands out to me because I know as I've endured a lot of changes over the past 5 years,
Yeah.
I think you have as well. And so I'm wondering, especially, noticing biases in yourself. Like I think,
Yeah, you learn to take stock in yourself. You learn at a certain point in your life, you learn to really evaluate who you are, what you believe in, what you stand for, and it becomes how you live when you've done that. And I've realized that there were times in my life where I didn't stand up for all the things that I believed in or should have stood up for, and I confronted some of the mistakes that I made in an effort to try and not repeat them in the future, to hopefully make me a better and more complete person.
yeah. I think that comes with time because until you reach that point,
Yeah,
you're more worried about other people and noticing things about them. And
you don't. It's one of the things that I used to have to do as a manager.
Yeah.
Was we would do yearly evaluations.
Yeah.
And, you'd rate yourself on different aspects from 1 to 5. And 5 was like godlike.
Yeah.
And every time I would do them, all the people I would do them with, I mean, so many things that I thought they were a 2 or a 3, they thought they were a 5. And it's introspection, honest introspection is hard. It's hard to really look at who you are and decide if you're being as true to yourself and as true to your values as you could be. And most people are not willing to do that.
Yeah.
At least not honestly.
Definitely.
Yeah, they don't want to take the time to do that.
Number 46, Dad.
46.
Things that aren't your fault can still be your responsibility.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that it's whose fault it is. It just matters that it's got to get handled.
Yeah. So to live a better life, you think, buy into that, acknowledge that.
Here's an example of that.
Yeah.
I came to work one day at the mini dealership, and I was confronted instantly, and we opened at 9 and I was there at 8:30, and I was confronted instantly with the fact that we had sold a car the night before that we had taken to a different customer than we had taken a deposit from on that car earlier in the day.
Yep.
Now, that wasn't my responsibility. It was the sales manager's responsibility that was working the day before.
Sure.
Okay. But all I thought about was the customer who had put a deposit on that car. Now, how am I going to resolve the situation so that the customer can be taken care of appropriately?
Yeah, still your responsibility. Yeah.
That was my response. So even though it wasn't my fault,
Yep.
I spent my day figuring out how to correct that situation for a customer. It wasn't my fault, but it's always your responsibility. If you want to do the right thing,
it's an attitude.
If you want to do the right things, it's always your responsibility.
So let's wrap with 2, Dad, because there's a whole list of 100. If you like this episode, we'll do like a follow-up to it in a couple weeks. But let's get to 50 here, and I've got 2 more. Okay, we got just another minute here.
Okay.
So I want to do this one first.
Yeah.
Defining yourself, number 47. Defining yourself by your suffering is an effective way to keep suffering forever.
Yeah, you have to look at how you can thrive in spite of what's going on.
Yeah, that to me speaks to like having a positive attitude.
Yeah, it's hey, I realize there's this situation, but regardless of that, how do I continue moving forward in spite of it? That's all.
All right, and last one, Dad.
Yeah.
Number 50.
Yeah.
Remember that you are dying.
Yeah, everybody is. We learned that as a family when your mother was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. We found out, we were reminded that everybody has an expiration date. None of us know exactly what that expiration date is.
You've always used the line, no one's beaten the odds yet.
Nobody has. And so, just always remember that you're dying. And so try and have as much fun and as much pleasure and as much laughter in your life as you possibly can until that day comes.
All right, on that note, first episode of Advice from My Dad in the books. Maybe by episode number 2, we'll have a sponsor. I doubt it.
Yeah, well, we'll be brought to you by your auto advocate.
Thank you, Dad, for doing this.
My pleasure. Thank you, handsome.